Hey everyone, this is Rob from Intended Consequences. Welcome to a new season of Pursue the Ride. On this episode, we're going to examine why purchasing a motorcycle, used or new, from a dealership is going to cost you extra. Then as a bonus, I'm going to give you a few tips on purchasing from an individual seller and better uses for the money that you'll save. Hit the graphic! So I want to point out from the start, this isn't a knock on folks who work at motorcycle dealerships. A job is a job, and this video isn't a statement on motorcycle dealers as individuals. I visit my local Harley-Davidson dealership regularly and have had many great conversations with the fine folks who work there. No, this video is about business and from a business perspective. They are there to sell a product and make money. And that's the key right there. A motorcycle dealership is there to make money, plain and simple. Never lose sight of that. I'm not mad though. That's the goal of every business. If a dealership gets a $10,000 motorcycle and turns around and sells it for $10,000, they're not going to be in business very long. So how does a dealership make money then? Well, let me show you a couple examples. Here's a settlement for a brand new motorcycle I purchased from a dealership. This document outlines everything you're actually paying for and typically appears towards the end of the sale when you're about to sign on the dotted line. So let's break this thing down. Selling price is the MSRP for the bike itself. This number can often be negotiated on, but by the time it's in print like this, it pretty much means the deal is decided. Freight is what the dealer paid to have the bike delivered from the factory to the dealership, and that cost is now passed on to you. Prep is basically the labor cost of the maintenance section of the dealership to check the bike for deficiencies, add fluids, and get it road ready. Accessories and labor is when you add things to the purchase, such as engine guards, upgrades, etc., and then the time it takes to put them on the bike itself. Deal add-ons is typically gear, some other purchases not included in accessories and labor. Document fees are, well, document fees, and the processing costs the dealership money, so now you incur those costs, similar to freight. Other charges and fees can really be anything else not already covered. Title fees are, well, they're title fees, and if the dealership's taking care of the title for you, it's going to cost. Taxes are taxes, the government's going to get theirs. In all fairness, there are costs in this example which are self-inflicted, but on the mandatory ones added as the cost of doing business with the dealership, the freight, the prep, the document fees, and other charges and fees, still resulted in an additional $1,900. And this is why the $2,000 I put down was so important, otherwise I would have been upside down before I'd even written off the lot. Okay, so that's a new bike. Let's look at a used one purchased from the same dealership. I'm not going to break it all down again, but because the bike is used, the dealership didn't pay for freight, so that cost didn't transfer over. But everything else did, and that's another $1,500 down the drain. And while these are specific examples, I've never seen nor heard of any dealership doing this any differently, so while the verbiage and cost may vary, these are things that you are going to pay for. Now you may counter all this by pointing out that dealerships offer warranties for new bikes and check over used bikes for any major defects or issues, both of which provide a certain amount of peace of mind when buying two-wheeled death machines. But what if I told you there was another way to get those things without the extra fees? We've all been there, absent-mindedly thumbing through Facebook Marketplace when BAM! Motorcycle ad appears with a stunning deal that's nearly too good to be true. You thumb through the pictures and it looks pretty good, but you don't trust it. It is Facebook after all, or Craigslist, or Cycle Trader, or any other of the dozens of online private seller websites. Fair enough, we've either been or heard about someone getting ripped off by buying things from private sellers. Still, there are ways to sift through it and find a great bike at a great price from a responsible owner. And after all, isn't that what we're looking for to begin with? First, look at the pictures. The higher the quality and the more of them there are, the better. Look for a picture of damage. Any used motorcycle is going to have a ding in it somewhere, and I appreciate a seller who's upfront about that. Next, look at the mileage. Motorcycles wear down a lot faster than cars, so consider that even with spot-on maintenance records, the higher the mileage, the closer to death the bike is going to be. Speaking of maintenance records, I like to see in the description for the bike that they are available. See, practically every motorcycle ad out there says the bike has been properly maintained and garage stored. But I want to see those records, and probably that garage, for myself. Now comes the fun part, reaching out and negotiating. Now even if the ad says the seller won't negotiate, offer a lower price anyway. Even if they only come down a couple $100, that's still money you're saving. Most sellers will list out all the accessories and modifications they've done to a bike in order to not drop the price or as an excuse to list it for more than what it may be worth. And I appreciate those things listed out, but remember, you're buying a motorcycle first. And all those other things are nice, but not while you're negotiating. Lastly, look for something along the lines of title in hand. If I can talk a person down a bit, the bike looks good minus a few dings and scratches, and if the maintenance records and title are there, now we can do some business. So let's talk briefly about what to do with the money saved. For simplicity, I'll stick with the examples we've already discussed. So let's say I purchased a used motorcycle from a private seller for the same price as I would have paid at a dealership, minus the $1,500 in extra dealership fees. I've already set aside tax and registration fees because, again, the government is going to get theirs. So now what can I do with the $1,500 I've saved? Well, let's go back to that dealership warranty. Depending on the motorcycle, manufacturers often offer extended warranties you can purchase. Now, these vary greatly, so you'll want to shop around, but my point is just because you purchase a used motorcycle from a private seller doesn't mean you can't get a warranty of some sort. And it probably won't cost you $1,500 either. If you're just looking to cement a peace of mind with your purchase, you can still take your bike to its respective dealership and have their maintenance department examine it for any deficiencies, lingering recall issues, or anything like that that may need to be addressed. Depending on the amount of time it takes and what is found, it'll cost. But I'd be willing to bet that if everything up until that point is checked out, then whatever it costs would be less than the $1,500 you'd have spent anyway. Finally, if you got an amazing deal, the bike checks out, you've still got money saved that you just gotta spend, use it to upgrade your gear, take a motorcycle class, or simply stash it away for your next services visit. Any of these are more meaningful uses of your cash than just handing it over to a dealer, never to be seen again. All right, look, there are methods of purchasing from a dealership that can save a lot of money, even more than private sellers if you know how to do it. If you want to see that video, let me know in the comments below. But for now, for most of us, our choices for our next motorcycle purchase come down to whatever is available on the dealership showroom floor or on private sales websites. If a couple extra grand above MSRP is a cost you're willing to pay for a new bike, the dealership is certainly the easier road traveled. If you want the best bang for your buck, you're patient, a little less picky, there are bikes just as good out there without dealing with, well, a dealership. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. And remember guys, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you next time.